The force cannot investigate itself on sex abuse reports, and I'm absolutely inclined to agree because, like we've spoken about in the last video, and I've said many times in the past, whenever you let the police investigate themselves, they'll give you the usual spiel of we investigated ourselves and we have established that we have done nothing wrong. South Yorkshire Police should not be allowed to investigate allegations its own officers sexually abused children in Rotherham, the Shadow Home Secretary has said. And I absolutely agree because they will just mess with their own investigation. Because, like I've said, these people that are in these institutions, as soon as they come under fire, they will close ranks and protect themselves. Doesn't matter what they've done. Even if they know for a fact that their member of staff or their officer or whoever has done something wrong, they will protect that person. Conservative Chris Philp and Shadow Safeguarding Minister Alicia Kearns said that the force should be prevented from any involvement in the investigation to allow it to be conducted impartially and independently. The BBC reported on Tuesday how 5 women who were exploited by grooming gangs as children have said they were also abused by police officers in the town at the time. The Home Office and South Yorkshire Police have been contacted for comment. Among the witness accounts reported by the BBC was the testimony of one woman who said she was struggle-snuggled from the age of 12 by a serving SYP officer in a marked police car. She claimed the officer would threaten to hand her back to the gang who had been grooming her if she did not comply. SYP said it had a dedicated team of detectives looking at the allegations, with the investigation being overseen by the Independent Office of Police Conduct, the IOPC. But in a letter to Home Secretary Yvette Cooper, Philp and Kearns, backed by Professor Alexis Jay's view that the force should have no involvement in the investigation themselves. That should be the case for everything. Basically, if an institution is under fire or the institution's done some really, really dodgy, sickening stuff, that institution gets no involvement in its own investigation whatsoever. Right, because they will take measures and hide evidence or purposely not find evidence and do all this other stuff so that they can get off the hook. You let someone be, do it with anyone, you let someone be in charge of their own investigation, they're going to do everything they can to get themselves off the hook. That's just a no-brainer, you just don't do that. Professor Jay, who led the landmark inquiry which exposed the Rotherham grooming scandal in 2014, said that the investigation should be taken over by another body. Philp and Kearns said it is incredibly concerning that the struggle, snuggle and abuse reportedly carried out by South Yorkshire police officers is being investigated by South Yorkshire police themselves. Whilst we recognise that IOPC is overseeing the investigation, this simply isn't good enough. They added there can be no conflicts of interest which may impede the investigation or deny justice. These children have already been failed more than once. Stand with them now. Speaking on Women's Hour on BBC Radio 4, the former Her Majesty's Inspector of Constabulary and Fire and Rescue said it appeared the South Yorkshire Forces was marking their own homework in the most catastrophic way. Then, the Honourable Zoe Billingham CBE, who spent 12 years inspecting police forces, said, "Trust and confidence are at the heart of this, and victims are not trusting this will be done well. And we have to listen to the victims' voices in this." And yeah, see, the fact is, like, the Rotherham survivors, where everyone's going, "Oh, get the police to investigate," they're all going like, pfft. And to be honest, that's how most people feel. I know people that have had crimes committed against them and stuff like that, and everyone goes, "Why didn't you call the police?" Fuck would I call them? So they can turn up, take a statement, and they turn up in 3 hours, take a statement, and then I never hear from them again. Like, why would you bother? Why would you? And the fact is, the reason these girls aren't doing that is because it was police officers who were also involved in the sexual abuse. It would be perfectly reasonable for another police to be asked to come in and investigate independently under the auspices of the IOPC, and I think that should happen immediately. But then again, even if it's another police force, it's still police investigating police. And even if it is another force, these guys will protect their own. Responding to the BBC's initial report, SYP Assistant Chief Constable Hayley Barnett said, "We know how hard it must be for the victim or survivor who has been so badly let down in the past to put their faith into the South Yorkshire Police of today." But she added that victims and survivors were at the heart of the investigation, with all actions being taken in their best interests. Yeah, now, after like 2 decades of just constant failures over and over again. But still, I completely agree with this. Anyone that has committed any type of crime, especially the sexual abuse of children, no, they should not be allowed to take part in their own investigation.